Greetings from DELNET Developing Library Network, New Delhi, India. The esteemed officials, Mrs. Maria Gold, Director, Strategic Programs and Partnerships, and Mr. Mohamad Mostafa, Community Specialist, DataCite, eminent librarians, library and information science professionals, faculty members, researchers, scholars, and students, my colleagues here at DELNET New Delhi and also its coordination units at Bangalore, Vadodara, and Pune. Ladies and gentlemen, I, Dr. Sangeeta Kaul, Director DELNET, takes profound pleasure in welcoming you on behalf of DELNET as well as DataCite to all our professional colleagues who have been able to join us today from various parts of India and many other countries, including Bhutan, Kazakhstan, Sri Lanka, UAE, and USA, to today's collaborative program between DELNET DataCite session on initiating an open dialogue and establishing a regional consortium of DELNET DataCite for South Asia, exploring the opportunities and benefits of the proposed joint collaboration. At the very outset, let me place on record a very profound thanks and gratitude to each one of you for a very overwhelming response, as more than 1,700 professionals across India and many other countries have registered, and we really look forward to the wonderful deliberations today. DELNET, the major operational library network, with a vast network of nearly 9,600 institutions that we network in today's day and time, have always been very proactive in taking up initiatives for strengthening the resource and knowledge sharing. The accessibility, affordability, equability, and inclusivity has always been our priority areas. We are also have been working very closely to see to it that there would be a most impactful visibility of the libraries, its resources, and also of its subject matter experts. We all would agree with the fact that we are into the world of research and innovation, which remains as a major driving force, not only for the institutions, but also for the society at large. It is highly important that the research which is being undertaken in our institutions, they gain wider visibility, citability, global recognition, and should also promote the open research practices. Keeping these concerns in mind, DELNET and DataCite have been discussing for past nearly almost 2 years now a joint collaborative consortium for further empowering the research ecosystem in the region. It's not only limited to India, but glad to share that yes, we intend to work for the entire South Asian region by launching a consortium for DOIs. Today, through this webinar today, we are initiating our first ever open dialogue on the subject, and we really look forward to a very highly enriching and engaging deliberations, which will definitely be helpful to us in chalking out the strategies and also creating a roadmap, for this entire initiative. Well, before I request Mr. Mohamad Mostafa, a longtime colleague and whom we have been working together for this initiative to start up the discussions, we would like to pose a few questions, very pertinent questions on this subject to all our distinguished colleagues who are being there on this platform, because this will really be helpful to us to assess the situation currently. These are very quick questions. These are the poll questions. Requesting each one of you, please come forward and just help us in knowing a little bit more from each one of you. And the first question is getting displayed on your screen, and requesting you, please come forward and reply to this. And the question is, does your institution currently register DOIs for research outputs? Whatever research outputs which are coming out from your institution, do you have a mechanism in place right now for registering, the DOIs? This can be through any of the medium that you are doing it, but are you doing it or you are not engaged with this? You are being offered two choices, yes or no. We could notice 22% of you have voted as of now. We request you, please do kindly come forward and give us a reply to this, because this would really be helpful to us in assessing the ground situation. How well are you currently engaged in assigning the DOIs for the research outputs from your institutions, or you are not being engaged in this activity? So requesting 37% of you have voted. At least we should be able to cross a 50% in order to get a very clear picture about it. Requesting each one of you, please do kindly help us help everyone, by being more participative, and let us know that how you are doing it. Only you are having two options, yes or no. We could notice 43% have voted. I'm just waiting for this number to reach to 50% at least, so that we are able to gain some very clear idea about. May I request everyone, 45%, 46%? Please kindly be a little more quicker. You don't have many choices. You have only yes or no. Are you doing it or you're not doing it? And I could see that we're just about to reach to the half of our colleagues. We are expecting this to reach. Let's quickly reach to 50%. It's 49% right now, and yes, 51%. So thank you very much for this. And we could see that 55% of you have gone for the option yes. And that's quite interesting to know about it. And this is for you, Mr. Mostafa, to also keep a note. 55% of our colleagues over here have said that yes, you are currently assigning the DOIs for your research output, though on the other side, it's 45% have gone for the option no, you don't currently have any mechanism for assigning DOIs. Let's quickly move on to the second question, and the second question is, it's again getting flashed on the screen. How familiar is your institution with the value of DOIs and the persistent identifiers? You can go for options, fully aware and already engaged. As we could see, 55% of you have gone with that option that you already have got DOIs, or some awareness but would benefit from awareness sessions, not familiar and would need more awareness sessions and training. And as we could notice, today's session or this joint collaborative program that both DELNET and DataCite are being engaged with, is basically to make everyone more aware about it, and then also to ensure that everyone participates fully in that. So you are being offered 3 choices, requesting you please do come forward, and we could notice 26% of you have voted. Please be a little more quicker. That's the very genuine request, since we have to really make the session more engaging, because it's an open dialogue. We really would like to hear more and more from you, and we also would like to share from our side that what we intend to do under this proposed consortium. So let's make the best use of the time, and requesting 37% of our colleagues have voted as of now, requesting you please do come forward. Out of the 3 options, whatever you feel that your reply should fit in better, please do kindly give us your candid opinion about it. 37%, it's being stuck at 37%. Requesting our attendees, please do come forward, because I could see that it's yes, it has now gone to 38%. Please be a little bit faster enough in doing. It looks to me that we may have to, it's getting a little, taking more time to reach to a 50% over here, because 40%. Okay, let's see that how well are the 40% of our attendees, what have they opined about it? 41%, let me correct, it's a 41% now. So out of 41%, let me just share that the topmost 44% have said that yes, you have got some awareness, but would certainly be getting more benefited from the awareness programs. So that's good to know about it. It is being followed by 31% who have said that yes, you are being fully aware and already you are engaged. And that's evident from the fact that 55% have said that you are already using DOIs at your place. 26% have said that you are not familiar and you would need more awareness sessions to follow. So thank you so very much. Let me quickly move on to a third question. And the third question is, what type of research outputs would your institution be most interested in registering with DOIs? And select all that apply. What type of research outputs, that your institution be most interested in registering for DOIs? What kind of, resource that you have for which you may like to have a DOI? And you have an options of thesis and dissertations, journal articles, conference proceedings or reports, images, audio or videos, or if there's some other category also. There are many other kinds of, resource type. for which you would be requiring it. In fact, just before commencing the session, was having a word with Mr. Mostafa, who he was mentioning about that even for a physical resource also, DataCite does offer a DOI. So it's not only for a digital resource, but it's also for a physical resource. And you may be from the archives, you can be from any of the, even for that matter, in any kind of an institution. And certainly you would be having many of the kind of a physical resource for which you require a DOI. So I believe, we have to correct ourselves and remind ourselves that DOIs is not only restricted and meant only for the digital objects, and it's like turning the physical one into a digital one. Digital objects identified, though it says, but yes, this also does cover the physical resource. And Mr. Mostafa in his presentation will definitely be diverging more onto this. So 40% of you have voted, and let me quickly assess this and to tell you 41%. And here it comes. So the topmost is 74%. 74% have gone for the option of the journal articles, followed by 44% for thesis and dissertations, followed by 40% have gone for conference proceedings and reports, 28% for images, audios, and videos, and 24% for many other kind of formats, many other kind of a resource that you may have. So 74%, this is for you, Mr. Mostafa, to keep a note. 74% journal articles, 44% thesis and dissertations, 40% conference proceedings and reports, 28% images and audios and videos, and many other formats, even 24% have gone for that. Let me just go for the last question before I pass on the baton to Ms. Mostafa, and herein goes, does your institution currently have an institutional repository publishing journals or any system to share your institutional research output? You may just kindly mention, are you having any IRs that you're having, or you have maybe perhaps any of the publishing journals that you have, or any mechanism that you have in place currently. So please do kindly let us know about it, and then we do have, besides yes and no, also and that's an emerging trend which is being there, and that's how you can see the third option, planning to set up soon. You don't have it right now, but you are working to see. And even the initiative between DELNET and DataCite is basically to strengthen, those initiatives and really to help you and do a more hand-holding in it. I could see that 33% of you have voted. Please be little more faster so that we can just finish this particular round of poll to assess our situation and to get your candid feedback, on these very, very important, pertinent questions, concerning the main subject of today's deliberations. I could see that we are about to reach, it's 37% right now, and we should reach at least to 39, and just waiting. Yeah, thank you very much indeed. And herein goes the findings. So the findings is 44% have gone for the option yes, that you do have an IR or do have a mechanism in place, which is quite heartening to know about it. 33% have gone for the option and have opined that yes, you are planning to set up soon. You don't have it, but you have the plans to do. And that's again quite encouraging to know about it. And 24% have said no. And when we say no, that means neither you have anything and you don't have even any plans. We do hope that the deliberations today would inspire you to, to think in those lines and to initiate. So thank you so very much indeed for being so participative. And now is the time for me to once again welcome Mr. Mohamad Mostafa, who has joined us from Dubai, and also to request him now to start the deliberations of the session today. So may I request you to kindly start up. It's a pleasure, to have you with us on this platform.
Great,
today.
yeah, great. Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Sangeeta. I'm very happy to be here, and hello everyone. I'm very happy to meet all of you. And before I start with this session, I really want to appreciate DELNET and all of their effort, that the whole DELNET team, Dr. Sangeeta Cole, the director, for giving us this opportunity to communicate again with you, to have this open dialogue with you, and to hear also about your thoughts, your feedback as well, because at the end of the day, DataCite as a non-profit organization, one of the key pillars is we're a community-driven organization. We rely on you. We listen to your feedback that will help to shape the services that DataCite provides, and also that will help us also to share, like, that feedback is very, very valuable for us. So yeah, as Dr. Sangeeta mentioned, we are exploring today the idea of launching the DELNET DataCite Consortium for South Asia, and we are going to touch on different opportunities and the benefits that will happen within this consortium. But before I start and talk about DataCite or who we are, what we do, I believe it's really, really important to understand from this diagram. So in 2021, the UNESCO published these recommendations on open science. These are global recommendations identified by the UNESCO, and all UNESCO member states, including India and other countries in the South Asia region as well, have agreed to adopt these recommendations and to implement as well these UNESCO principles. So the UNESCO identified 4 important pillars to help universities, to help research organizations to access and achieve open science at the ground. So I added links here if you want to access the full details, but very briefly today I'm going to touch on the open science infrastructure pillar where DataCite is mainly contributing. DataCite support all the 4 pillars. For example, for the open scientific knowledge, when we talk about open access for publications, open research data, we support for sure the open engagement and the open dialogue. But for the concern of the session today, I want to focus mainly on the open science infrastructure. So what we mean when we talk about open science infrastructure. So the UNESCO again defined this as the shared research infrastructure that are needed to support open science, and also not to support open science, but it serves the different needs of our research communities. So what we mean, what are the examples of open science infrastructure? Again, the UNESCO highlighted like major scientific equipment or tools can be considered as a research infrastructure. But in our context today, we are talking about instrument, about digital infrastructure, knowledge-based resources, such as open access repositories, such as journal publication platforms, such as our archives and scientific data portal to disseminate the wide range of outputs that our universities, research institutions are currently producing. And I was really happy to see when your answer around the institutional repositories and systems that you currently have, the majority of you like voted yes, whether you have it or like very soon you are going to launch an institutional repository or to launch a journal publishing platform as well. So if you are already running an institutional repository right now, where you are currently disseminating a wide range of outputs through this institutional repository, so these repositories are considered an important open science infrastructure or open research infrastructure, because you use these repositories, you use these platform to disseminate the outputs that your faculty members, your colleagues at the university, at the institution are currently producing. So UNESCO also highlighted very important statement about the service providers for these open research infrastructure, that they should always be built by non-profit organizations, and they are maintained, sustained by the community of members who join these organizations. And why? Because we want to ensure long-term sustainability, and the ultimate goal of all of these efforts to increase the transparency and equity and fairness in the research ecosystem. And I will touch again when I talk about DataCite and who we are, and we will link that also that we are a non-profit organization. So we see also in 2022, the following year after the UNESCO published the initial recommendation, they published this statement, which is available at the UNESCO website. So this is the DOI if you want to access this document. So this document was mainly dedicated to open science infrastructure. And again, the UNESCO was highlighting the importance of maintaining, running open access repositories, maintaining data portals, collections, journal publications platform to disseminate a wide range of research outputs and resources. In this document, the UNESCO also highlighted the importance of investing in these resources, because we all know, like, if a university or if an institution want to launch an open access repositories, it's still an investment. So they should have some dedicated staff managing and running these repositories. You need an infrastructure, you need to select the repository software. So it's an investment from the university, it's an investment from the institution to build and establish this infrastructure, and the UNESCO is encouraging all universities to invest towards this direction. What I want to highlight briefly in this 2022 statement is what was mentioned at the first page of this statement, and I quote the following: the critical component of open science infrastructure allow an unambiguous identification of scientific items. So here the UNESCO is talking about the identification, how we can identify research outputs by unique persistent identifiers. So we can see here the term persistent identifier is mentioned. But why institutions that are using open science infrastructure need to adopt or use these persistent identifiers? We continue reading the quote: because they provide essential, open and standardized services that will help us to manage and provide access. We all know the accessibility problem, analysis and federation of data, scientific literature, and all of these different outputs. So we see at the first page of this, the UNESCO is highlighting the importance of using and adopting persistent identifiers to identify research outputs and the resources. We see also, and as I mentioned, there is a DOI if you want to access the full text at the UNESCO website. The UNESCO at the footer of the first page cited some examples of these persistent identifiers. So they talked about ORCID IDs for academic researchers, they cited DataCite DOIs for research data and outputs, and they also identified the Research Organization Registry, or ROR ID, for research organizations. So yeah, when we talk about persistent identifiers, what we mean by that? So the definition of PID is a unique alphanumerical string that usually refers to a digital resource. So when you click on a persistent identifier, you will be redirected to a landing page. That landing page has a metadata representation about that digital resource. We have different types of persistent identifiers. For the concern of the session today, we will focus on DOIs, but it's worth highlighting that we have ORCID IDs for academic researchers. We have also ROR ID for research output, for research organizations, and we have also DOIs, as we will dive more into them shortly. I included here a very quick example for an ROR record. So this is the ROR ID, what you can see here at the screen, of the Indian Academy of Neuroscience. So within their ROR record, I can see what is the organization type, what is the other name for this organization, where is the location for this, and what is the official website. So I can verify all of these metadata information about this particular research organization. And yeah, you mentioned some of you are already using DOIs, but 45% of the attendees today doesn't know like about DOIs, or they are not using DOIs. So I thought it would be good also to highlight this. So this is an example of a DOI. It consists of 3 parts: proxy, the DOI.org, the suffix, and the prefix as well. So the DOI is a unique identifier. When I click on that identifier, I will be redirected to the landing page at the institution website, where I can see metadata representation about that output. And let me show you very quickly this example. So this is a DOI for a dissertation. When I click on this DOI, I am currently redirected to the repository page at this institution, at this university. And as I mentioned, it's a DOI for a dissertation. So I can see this is the metadata representation. This is the full dissertation title. This is the short description for this dissertation. I can see also information about access. They seem to have an embargo, but the DOI is resolving to an open landing page. So this is the dissertation, the resource type. These are the authors' names who created this dissertation. I can see the ORCID IDs also included, the advisors who contributed to review this thesis, and the committee members that were part of the discussion for this dissertation. You can see also more additional metadata information, and here this is the DOI, the digital object identifier. So this is the unique identifier for this particular thesis. And as you can see, DOI will always be part of the citation information. So if I really want to cite this dissertation, I can include the DOI as part of the citation information. We'll go back now to the presentation, and we will talk again about DataCite. So this was a quick introduction about the open science pillars, open science infrastructure. Within open science infrastructure, we have repositories, we have journal publication platform, we have data collections, and we have, as the UNESCO highlighted, persistent identifiers that should be adopted when we talk about open science infrastructure. Before we move from this slide, I just wanted to highlight very briefly that DataCite doesn't host any full text at our platform, or when you, for example, register a DOI for a dissertation, you don't share the full text of the dissertation with DataCite. You just provide DataCite with the metadata information, like the dissertation title, the authors, the contributors, the publication year, and in return, you are going to get that unique identifier for your dissertation. So as you saw, when we clicked on the DOIs, we were redirected to the university repository webpage where we can access information around this dissertation. So DataCite doesn't aggregate the full text content of any outputs. Think about us as like a metadata store where we just collect metadata information and give you the DOI, the identifier itself. So users, researchers, readers, when they click on these unique global identifiers, they will be redirected to the landing page that you already created at your university or at your institution website. So in terms of DataCite and who we are, so we are a global community of research organizations. All of these research organizations are coming together because we share a common goal. We want to ensure that all research outputs and resources, and I will stress on the word all, because as we saw also in your insights and the responses that Dr. Sangeeta was running at the beginning of the session, you mainly use DOIs. For the ones who said yes, we use DOIs for journal articles, like 74% of the institutions who currently with us in this webinar and they use DOIs, they use it mainly for journal articles. But as we will see, DOIs are not only for journal articles. So we need to ensure that all research outputs and the resources are openly available and connected. And why we want to do that? Because we really, together with all of these members and institutions, we want to help in advancing knowledge, increasing reusability of these research outputs and resources. And in line with what the UNESCO mentioned about open science infrastructure providers, DataCite is a non-profit organization. This doesn't mean that our services are free of charge or you can mint DataCite DOIs free of charge. There is a cost for that, and we acknowledge there is a cost for that. But this is very important because, for example, tomorrow morning you can't wake up and find like for a commercial entity, for example, purchased or acquired the DataCite. It changed our fee model to increase more profit, or no, we are guided governed by our community of members who join the association. We have an executive board that are elected from our members that shape our priorities and our strategies. So when you join us, you will get the opportunity to vote in our election and share also your thoughts. So we are a non-profit organization registered in Hanover, Germany. This is where we started in 2009. So within the DataCite community now, we have over 1,700 organizations that are using our services, that using DataCite DUIs for a wide range of outputs and resources. And I want to just highlight very briefly here, when we talk about organizations that join DataCite, we have a wide range of organizations. So we talk about universities, research institutions, governmental bodies that are maintaining some ministries, some governmental bodies were maintaining repositories, systems. So these systems are already producing outputs and resources. We have museums also will join DataCite to register DOIs for physical objects and for their artifacts. We have also research and educational network. We have national libraries. So a wide range of research organizations that will join DataCite, whether to register DUIs themselves and or to open the door for other organizations to join and benefit from DataCite infrastructure and register DUIs. We have members across 66 countries, including members from India, as I will show you in the upcoming use cases slides. And so far, we have issued just very recently, I would say 2 or 3 weeks ago, we crossed the border of 100 million DOIs registered by DataCite members. And in 2025, our DOIs have been used or accessed. So this is the resolution numbers refers to how many times users or readers accessed or collect on a DataCite DOI. So we are talking about 654 million times in 2025. So this can give you an idea how these DOIs are global identifiers, how they are globally used by various research organizations to be accessed and to identify research outputs and resources. So in terms of DataCite services, so we provide infrastructure for DataCite members that join us to allow them to create and manage the resistant identifiers, in particular the digital object identifier, the DOIs. But we are not only a DOI registration agency, we also built integrated services like DataCite Commerce to connect all research outputs and resources. And we also provide digital object identifiers, as I will explain in the upcoming slides, with rich metadata information. We allow our members to register rich metadata information for a diversified research outputs and resources, from journal articles, samples, images, data. This is how we started, and preprints as well. And we also help facilitating the discoverability of these metadata information that our members are sharing with DataCite, so their outputs will become visible in a global citation indexes and citation databases as well, because we understand this is the ultimate goal, is to advance discoverability for and reusability as well for the outputs and the resources that DataCite members are registering. So as I mentioned, the DataCite metadata schema allow our members to register DOIs for a wide range of outputs. So we can group these different outputs into 4 main sections. The first section is around the materials that are related to a specific research process, like a journal article or a research data or a collection, model, software, even images. You can upload them to your repository and register them with a DOI. We also support registering DOIs for gray literature. So if you have thesis and dissertation, reports, conference proceeding, and I was really happy to see from your insights, your second, like if you wish to register DOIs, you'll use them for electronic thesis and dissertation. And it's really, really important. I'm sure Indian universities and institutions in South Asia in general are producing thesis and dissertation, but these thesis and dissertation, we want to make them globally visible, globally connected with the different citation engines and the discovery databases. So we support registering DOIs for these grey literature output. Preprints, the initial version of the article before sharing it with the publisher, report, technical standard, all of these outputs that usually universities and the institutions will disseminate them through their institutional repository. We also support registering DOIs for physical objects. So here we'll see museums joining data sites, samples community from archaeology or geology research organizations will join data sites to register a wide range of samples, prototypes, and artworks as well. They can be registered with DataCite DOIs. And recently, we started to support registering DOIs for research activities. So, for example, if your university is producing a grant or award, you can register these grants or awards with DataCite DOIs and include the metadata information around the grant, and then you can issue the DOI. And also, research project can be registered with DataCite DOIs. What you see here in this slide now is a screenshot from the DataCite registry. We call it Fabrica. And as you can see, the 1,700 organizations that are part of the DataCite community and using our services are registering a wide range of outputs and resources with DataCite DOIs. As we can see, we have like over 50 million data set. This is the most registered resource type. This is how we started. That's why we have the word data in our name, DataCite. But as you can see, since 2009, DataCite has grown a lot to support a wide range of outputs and resources. So I'm sure at your repositories right now, at your systems, at your institution, you currently have some of these outputs like books, book chapters, dissertations, educational files like audio, visuals, interactive resources, conference proceeding that is happening at your campus, data paper, data management plan, sound files, peer review reports, award or grants. All of these various outputs, you can connect them with DataCite DOIs and register a DOI for them. And I know that you mentioned on your initial responses now that you mainly use DataCite, you mainly use DOIs for journal articles. But I think we can dive into this more in our discussion or Q&A, but we all can agree that journal article is the final product for a long research process. During this research process, the researchers will produce a wide range of outputs and resources. Like the researcher can produce a research data or like he will post a survey, he will collect the data. So this also is a valuable output. That data set that is part of this research is a valuable output. The researcher will go to a conference and make a presentation about his research project that he's currently doing. So this conference presentation or a conference proceeding paper is also a valuable output. Then the presentation, maybe the researcher maybe will also write a research report about this project. All of these are a valuable output as well that should be connected, visible with DOIs. So it's not only the journal article that will be published at the end of that journey. And I'm sure you also are aware of this now. Even journal publishers now will ask authors, where is your data? What is your data availability statement? It's a part of the journal articles now. You need to let the readers, the researchers who are going to access and read your research, where is your data sets are stored, where it's are published right now, so they can have access, if possible, to your data. So with the DataCite metadata schema, you can register DOIs for these diversified research outputs and resources. And of course, we have journal articles as well as part of the resource type that we support. But yeah, the questions also will come up like why DOIs are important. Like what is the added value when my institution start using DataCite DOIs? First of all, you are, as we mentioned, the DOIs are aligned with the open science and open research practices. So you are kind of enabling and achieving open science at the ground level at your university or at your institution. And on top of that, for the context of research data, as you know, adopting and using DOIs is very important to make your research data fair. We all talk about the importance of adopting fair principles. Fair principles are important. They boost the reusability of research data, but how we can implement, how we can adopt, align our research data with the fair principles, we need to implement persistent and use persistent identifiers and DOIs. In the context also of connecting your current systems, current repositories with the global ecosystem, because one of the key features of the DOI is the ability to retrieve the metadata information. So even if you are registering a DOI for a dissertation and you don't allow access, you have an embargo for 1 year or 2 years for the dissertation, the metadata information about the dissertation that you registered will always be open. So a lot of discovery engines, citation databases will always retrieve the metadata information of the DOIs because they are open metadata information, even if the output itself is closed access. All of these points together will help in improving visibility and discoverability of your outputs. And DOIs being a persistent identifiers, they enhance the accessibility issue. We all know the problem of the broken links. You are migrating from one platform to another platform. You will lose some resources, so you will have the problem of broken links. So when you use DOIs, you can go very easily to DataCite Fabrica and run a script to update the URL. So this DOI was previously redirecting to this page. I now migrated to a new platform. I need this DOI to migrate to this new URL. So you can update all of this through the metadata information in an easy way. So if your outputs and the resources have been already shared before and some researcher is trying to access them, so they will click on the DOI even if the landing page has been updated or redirected to another page because you updated your metadata information for your DOIs, so they will lead the researcher to another new accessible page as well. And one of the key points of the DOIs is the increase the recognition of for research outputs beyond the journal articles. As I highlighted, we all know that journal articles receives huge attention when it comes to research reporting, but it's really important to acknowledge the effort of producing all of these theses, dissertations, reports, book chapters, research data. All of these outputs are very important, and we need also to give a recognition to our researchers who are producing this. We need to give a recognition to our institutions who are disseminating, funding these research outputs and resources. And with all of these points together, you are helping also to boost the citation levels for these outputs, because when they are more visible, more connected, and this in general will help to increase the overall impact of your institution. So in terms of registering DOIs and how institutions can register DOIs with DataCites, we have different options. So the DataCite infrastructure will allow you to connect through our REST API that support JSON, and in this case, you can automate the DOI registration process. We have also, if you developed your own customs repository software, you can connect with the DataCite API. But also it's worth it to highlight, like there are some already existing repository software like DSpace, for example, which I know is widely used in India and in the South Asian region. There is already an integration with DataCite, especially in the newer versions of DSpace. So the integration is already there, and it will really almost automate the DOI registration process for you. You'll just need to do little customization for the plugin and then turn it on. If you are using, for example, Open Journal System, OJS, to publish your journals and your books through your university press. You can also use DataCite plugin, which is already there, developed by the BKB community. So there are already integration with many repository software that will make the registration process for you automated and very easy to use as well. That's why we are widely used by 1,700 organizations. We also have a manual interface. So if you don't want to use like this automation way through the API, or if you are using a repository software where we currently don't have an integration with DataCite, so we have a very simple web form through DataCite Fabrica, where you can fill in some metadata information, around 6 metadata elements that are mandatory, and in less than 1 minute, you can register a DOI by providing us with the, like, for example, if you're registering a report, you see that this is the report title, this is the date of the publication, this is the authors who created this research report or report, this is the university who published this report. So you can provide us with this metadata information through this web form, and in return you can register and get that DOI. We also have a registered service providers program for repository software companies if you wish to use any of them. So as I mentioned, for DataCite, we already developed that infrastructure that allow our consortium leads, our direct members, our consortium organizations to get access. So Fabrica is like one-stop service. Think about it in this way, to DataCite members, to help them to create and manage DOIs for their organizations. So within Fabrica, members will find the tools to help them in the creation and management of DOIs and metadata. Members can also see statistics on their DOI activities, verify the information. We have also a section for your organization, so you can add your billing contact, you can add your technical support contact, so to customize the contact within your organization. I want, sorry, I want very briefly also to touch on some use cases that DataCite has within the Indian community. We have a few members from Indian research organizations who are using DataCite services at the moment at their institutions, and our ultimate goal with this collaboration with DELNET to drive the adoption, as I will come and I will share more details about that, for DOIs across many institutions. But I just wanted to give you a brief idea about some of these use cases from India. So we have this use case from the National Geophysical Research Institute. It's an institution based in Hyderabad in India, and they joined the DataCite as a direct member last year in 2024. When they connected with us, they mentioned that they have an open data portal that is managing historical geomagnetic measurement that they have been collected over many years. I think back to the 1960s about geomagnetic activities and the measurement as well. And besides that, they told us they also have some historical reports and new report that the current research team at the research institution are also producing, and they were very interested to explore and to make these research data fair, and they want also to boost the visibility of the outputs beyond the research data that their institution is also producing. So we connected with them, we had a conversation with them, and what we discovered is they have already built their own local software to manage the data portal, for example. So I will show you here some few examples of their DOIs. So this is a DOI for the research data. So when we click on this DataCite DOI, what is happening is we are now redirected to the landing page of the data portal of the NGRIs to have access to this research data. So as you can see, they have different tabs. So if you want to check the metadata file, if you want to check a data preview, if you want to access the data itself. So when I check the metadata file, it will redirect me to some useful metadata information about this research data. They listed all the names of the authors, they acknowledged them, they contributed to the creation of this research data. They mentioned very clearly when, for example, this research data was collected from 19th of November 2010 to 31st of December 2012. And they share another valuable metadata information that is related to the research domain about this research data. So like, for example, this is the temperature, this is the operating temperature, this is the measured range. So I'm sure people from the geophysics community, from the magnetic research, will relate to this information. So it can be very helpful for them to have access. And they share also what is the volume of this data. So it's a 60 megabyte file. So I can have an information about also the size of the file. So within their data portal, I can now access this data information. And as you can see, they also mentioned this short description here. They mentioned even the station from where this research data was collected. They mentioned the period, this range for data from 2010 to 2012. So it's a very, very valuable research data to share. So institutions within India or beyond India now can access this research data and can build on this research. Instead of before that, it was just the heading. This data were hidden at the NGRI, maybe at a shelf of the institution where they are just collecting these data over the years. But with this fantastic example here, they built the data portal, they assigned the DOIs, they make the research data open as well. And as I mentioned, besides using DOIs for research data, NGRI as well had this vision that they want to connect also whether their historical reports or also previous reports with DataCite. So this is, for example, a report on the measurement of their activities. So they highlighted that if you want to access the full report, you can download it here. If you want to access the preview for the report, you can also click here. So when we click on that DataCite DOI, DataCite is only hosting the metadata information, but to access the report itself, we will always be redirected to NGRI website. And this is also another very interesting example. So they collected this survey data from 1967, and they made it openly available also with the community. So they highlighted this data and they said this is the survey data from this period. And if you see the metadata preview for this, you can have access around the size again of this research data. It's quite old, but they still acknowledge the valuable or the importance of sharing this research data that goes back to 1967. And you can see also like they included important metadata information. I'm sure like knowledge is cumulative, so this is research data will be very useful to another researchers or another research institution at working at the same subject, at the same field. So they will see a value in accessing this research data. I want to show you also again DataCite Commons and NGRI, the National Geophysical Research Institute webpage at DataCite Commons as well. So DataCite Commons, you can think about it as an open platform. It's open for everyone. Everyone can access DataCite Commons. And what we are doing with DataCite Commons is we have a section for works, we have section for people, we have section for organization, and we have section for repositories. And for the work section, what we are doing is we are displaying the metadata information about the DOIs the DataCite members have registered. So here you can have over 107 million metadata record for all the DOIs that DataCite members have registered over the years. You can see all of these metadata here. And when you click on the DOI, you can go to the organization web page where you can access the full text for this output. Let me close this. And go back to the National Geophysical Research Institute in Hyderabad. So because now for Commons, we are doing also an integration with ORCID API, so we can show information about researchers who contributed to this. We have also an integration with ROR. Remember that identifier for research organizations that we mentioned at the beginning, so we can display information on organizations. And we have also integration with some repositories, registries like Re3 data registry. So here under the organizations, I did a quick search for the National Geophysical Research Institute in Hyderabad, and I can see because now they started to use DOIs, they started to adopt open metadata, we can track the impact of the research outputs and their activities as well. So here, because we have that integration, I can verify it. This is the National Research Organization in Hyderabad, or this is another organization. No, we can see very clearly because when I clicked on the ROR ID, I can see this is the National Geophysical Research Institute in Hyderabad. So it's because maybe there is another institution in the world with a similar name or just a few changes in the name. I can see also other names, how this institute name is mentioned in different languages, and this is the parent organization for this institute. This is the acronym for the institute, and these are other identifiers as well. So I'm sure that these outputs are related to the National Geophysical Research Institute in Hyderabad. And Commons will give you an overview of works, citations, views, and downloads. And we can see here, because they recently started to join, so they are still making their early steps in registering various outputs, but they started to register data sets, images, models, report. And when I click in any of these outputs, I will be redirected, as I showed you, to the landing page at the repository portal at NGRI, so I can access the metadata information and the outputs itself. So NGRI was able to have this in Commons because they adopted DOIs, because DOIs as a global identifier, they have this ability to retrieve metadata information. So they were able to do that. And this is just DataCite Commons is developed by us, but think about another like global discovery engines, citation databases, like maybe you know or you heard about OpenAlex. So very recently we OpenAlex, the global database, will start now to have to retrieve metadata information about DataCite DOIs. So if you're a DataCite member, you are using our DOIs, your metadata also will be visible and discoverable in OpenAlex. And when researchers, users, readers click on the DOIs, they will always come to your website to access the research outputs. So DOI just facilitate that discoverability. So yeah, so very quickly we'll run to another example from India as well. So we have this international organization for crops research institute. They are also based in India, and they conduct research around agriculture and crops development as well. They manage an open data portal. They use Dataverse. So some of you may know Dataverse is a widely used repository software for managing data repositories. So they use Dataverse, and they join the DataCite also as a direct member because they want to use DOIs for research data. So this is an example of one of their DOIs. So it's like a sequence data. This is the landing page. When we clicked on the DOI, we were redirected to their data repositories where we can see, and DOI is always part of the citation information. So this is the author's names who created this research data, who put effort in creating, collecting this data. This is their data set title, and this is the DOI to identify these research outputs. And yeah, so this is, I thought it's another interesting example from the Indian community to highlight with you today. We'll go back to the presentation now, and very briefly also I wanted to touch on this, and I was having a discussion with Dr. Sangeeta Kaul before we started the webinar today. We very recently attended the International Data Week in Brisbane, Australia, where we heard interesting perspectives about what is happening around the globe now when it comes to national research and national effort to support research data and other outputs as well. So just wanted to spotlight on these use cases. So the Research Data Alliance, RDA, so they created a working group to bring together some national level organizations who are really interesting, and what they are doing right now is they are trying to develop national persistent identifiers strategies or a roadmap to implement national persistent identifiers in one country or in one region. Because as we saw in the introduction slides when we talked about the UNESCO, and the UNESCO is encouraging universities and organizations and countries as well, like the UNESCO member states, to think about the usage of persistent identifiers and to start adopting them to identify all the research outputs and the resources. And because we have different types of persistent identifiers like ORCID IDs for people or DOIs for object and research outputs, it's really important for organizations to have this mindset when it comes to a national level, and supporting also like coordination on a national or regional level. So we see different groups around the globe who are working on this. For example, there are a group of research and education network in Africa and the Middle East is building a roadmap to implement persistent identifiers in Africa. We see in the United States such a very large, big country as well, with many, many research institutions. So just last year, they started to work on the first draft of their and developing their national persistent identifier strategy. They need to have a roadmap to help these different institutions to have a policy to identify research outputs, to have a policy around the using of ORCID IDs for academic researchers, use of DOIs for outputs. And very recently also during the IDWs, one of the presentations in the session that I attended was around the Ministry of Higher Education in France and what they are currently doing together with the community in France to build these recommendations to adopt the persistent identifiers in their research communities and how they see that. As I mentioned, all the slides are open, and I will share with you the slides so you can access all of these links. But I want to link that with the effort and the dialogue that we are moderating today with DELNET, where we want to have a similar thing, a national coordination to open the door. As I mentioned, we have some members from India. They are coming to us as a direct member, or from this region in general, South Asian region. But we want to have that national partner that we collaborate with to launch all of these effort to bring institutions and communities together so they can benefit from DOIs. They can register DOIs. Not only, as you mentioned, 74% of the DOIs are mainly for journal articles, and maybe they are published at international publishers, so the DOI are already there from the publisher like Elsevier or Springer journals. So we need to increase the adoption of DOIs. We need to give a visibility to the research data that institutions in the South Asian region are producing. We need to give visibility to the dissertation and thesis that our student and our doctoral student are producing. All of these are valuable outputs. We need to make it more visible. We need to put some light on our existing repositories and existing infrastructure. We need to connect it with a global ecosystem to use identifiers that can retrieve metadata information from it so we can boost the visibility of these outputs. So just I wanted to touch briefly on this. And this is also one of the advantages of joining DataCite community, because like the consortium leads who are leading these national-based strategies, all of these are part of the DataCite Consortium as a consortium leads. They lead conversations in their communities, in their regions, how to implement that. So ASRIN or UbuntuNet Alliance, or the Ministry of Higher Education in France, represented by CNRS, is leading a DataCite Consortium in France. And all of these organizations, we are coming together to put a roadmap or a pathway to increase the adoption of persistent identifiers. So joining DataCite community will give you the opportunity to interact with all of these different communities, learn from them, benefit from them, and share also your thoughts about the challenges that you are currently facing within your community. So yeah, so as I mentioned, we are a membership organization. We have these 1,700 organizations that are using DataCite services now, and we have mainly two options, like direct members. So this is the current model that institutions in India in particular is using, like they are joining DataCite as a direct member to connect to their existing systems, existing repositories with DataCite infrastructure. And then the model that we want to discuss more today together, and that's why we are establishing this dialogue, and the model that we are proposing in collaboration with DELNET is to launch this DELNET DataCite DOI consortium for the South Asian region. We see DELNET as a trusted partner, as a national partner who's leading this massive network of 9,000 institutions in India and beyond across the South Asian region. So the consortium model has many advantages compared to the direct membership model. So the consortium model is, we see DELNET here in this scenario as a consortium leading this consortium and opening the door for you as an interested research organizations within the DELNET members and community to register DOIs for your outputs and the resources to benefit from DataCite infrastructure to connect your existing systems, existing repositories with DataCite Fabrica. So there are several advantages for joining a consortium and establishing a consortium as well. It offers a sustainable solution because you have like a trusted partner who's leading the consortium. So this can help you to ensure the long-term accessibility. It also, as I will explain in my upcoming slides, it like reduces in a significant way the financial barriers. So it offers a very cost-effective way for organizations and universities to join and register DataCite DOIs for their outputs and resources. And we all know when we reduce these financial barriers, when we make something work in a cost-effective way, we can increase the adoption rate, so more organizations can join, because this is the ultimate goal. We don't want to leave anyone behind us. We want all the community members to benefit from DataCite infrastructure in this region. So we want to increase the adoption rate. So with reducing the financial barriers, making it a cost-effective, we hope that we will increase the adoption rate. And the ultimate goal is by doing that, we are like building the trusted national infrastructure. We are enhancing the visibility and discoverability of your outputs and the resources on a national and regional level as well with this consortium. And most importantly, if you link that with what we mentioned at the introduction of my slides about putting open science in action. We all, I'm sure you as a librarians or repository managers or even researchers, you attended conferences and webinars where everyone saw open science is important. We need to achieve open science. We adhere to open science, but we need to implement it on the ground. So starting this consortium is also a way to adopt persistent identifiers, to adopt open metadata, to give a recognition for all our research outputs and resources, not only our journal articles. So we are kind of making and putting open science in action and showing the global community an actual use case from this region. This is the financial overview. Maybe when we dive into the financial points, I can touch on this. I prepared this particular slide to talk about the financial overview as well. I wanted to show you also like different examples that we have, whether it's a global examples or even regional examples from this Asian community region. So within the DataCite community, we have around 70 consortium leads around the globe. These consortium leads are leading DataCite consortia in their countries or in the regions, bringing institutions together to benefit from DataCite infrastructure and to allow them to boost the visibility of their outputs and the resources. Very briefly, I will touch on 3 examples. In the UK, we have the British Library is leading a DataCite consortium, and we have almost 119 institutions. So almost all British universities are there, connecting their existing systems, repositories, and beyond that, the consortium is open to support the museums community. So we have the British museums as part of the consortium. We have the national governmental bodies within the British government who are managing a data portal, for example, for environmental data. So they can join, and instead of joining DataCite as a direct member, they will join this consortium. This is represent a cost-effective model for them to benefit from DataCite infrastructure. Another example, very briefly, is the German National Library for Science and Technology, TIB. So they are one of the founding members of DataCite, and the TIB consortium in Germany is massive. They have like over 175 institutions. You can think about a wide range of universities, research institutions, organizations that are producing outputs. So you can just think about the scale. So we are talking about DOIs for different 33 outputs and resources are being registered by the TIB members. And we had an interesting use case very recently from the National Research Council of Thailand, who was a DataCite direct member since 2012. So they were part of the DataCite community very early, almost 3 or 4 years after DataCite was established. And we started a conversation with them in 2024, last year, that about the consortium model and how it's cost effective, how it can help different universities also to connect their outputs, because NRCT in Thailand was managing 2 national repositories and they were already assigning DOIs for them. So they really liked the idea of bringing everyone together, of starting a consortium and opening the door for institutions in their country to join. So they started the consortium. We have 5 universities and organizations that are currently producing, registering a wide range of outputs and resources and enjoying the benefits of this consortium. So as I mentioned, these are examples. We have, for example, another consortium in Japan led by the Japan Link Center, a national level organization in Japan, and opening the door for Japanese and research institutions in the country to register DataCite DOIs. And as I mentioned, Australia and different countries, but I just thought it would be good to highlight these 3 examples in a brief way. I want also to acknowledge that what Dr. Sangeeta shared with me about the initial survey that she shared in the invitation email, and I saw, and this is also linking it with the title of our webinar today. It's about being an open dialogue, and also we see opportunities for and benefits where we can benefit each other, and we can also have a collaboration. So I really acknowledge what I saw in the survey, which is also kind of aligned with the initial the information that we gathered and the statistics that we gathered today from you. So like still, like many institutions are not registering DOIs at the moment, so there is a room for opportunity, there is a room for collaboration as well. And besides that, there is this awareness barriers around how DOIs can help, how wide persistent identifiers in general are important. And it's good that institutions also see this as a strong opportunity to strengthen research infrastructure at their universities, at their national level at large. And also we saw this about the challenges of some lack of technical infrastructure, like even today, almost like 24% of you mentioned they don't have any repositories at all, they don't have publishing platform at all. So maybe with the starting this also, there is an opportunity. So when you hear about like 1 or 2 years from now, you see the progress that the DELNET DataCite Consortium members are producing, how they are connecting the research outputs and resources through the repositories with DOIs, the impact, we have the possibility to track this impact. You can convince also your policy makers at your university, at your institution to invest in making this happen, to establish your open access repositories. And again, what I really like also is institutions are seeing DOIs are not just an identifier, because DOIs are more than an identifier, but they can help also in having this impact, in helping you to increase the impact of your institution, boosting your global visibility, make you achieve and align more with the global open science practices as well. So I really like this from the survey result. And as I mentioned, if there is a limited technical and organization like infrastructure, this is also one of the key advantages of the consortium. Like if you are using DSpace and another organization is using DSpace, maybe it will be interesting to connect. How did you connect to a DataCite? How did you use DataCite DOIs? So you can learn, we can learn from each other. If an institution want to install Dataverse and we have a member in the consortium who is using Dataverse as a repository software, they can demonstrate their use case. We can publish their use case as well. So other members from the community of the consortium can learn. So we can exchange this knowledge as well. So this is, again, I see it, even if it's a challenge, we see it as an opportunity as well. And I saw also this in the survey result very clearly around, the need for training and the awareness activities, not only about DataCite or about DOIs, but around open science infrastructure in general, around open science practices, around the importance of adopting open metadata, around how these persistent identifiers are important for academic researchers, how they are important for institutions, how they are important on a national level, how they are important on a regional level as well. So there is that need for capacity building activities, collaboration around these topics. So I believe starting and establishing this consortium will open the door also for DataCite to contribute and to engage more closely in a collaboration, of course, with DELNET that is doing a fantastic job, like in this webinar as an example, to open the door for us to connect with all of you who are attending today, to have this conversation, to listen to your feedback. So yeah, imagine after launching the consortium itself and have the opportunity to organize maybe this series of webinars through the year, or we were discussing with Dr. Sangeeta, why not in-person workshops where we invite, and then we invite you also after some time to share your use cases. What happened? How are you using DataCite services? What happened when you started to use DOIs for thesis and dissertation? How are you able to track the impact? So this, of course, would be an important part. Even if we see it insufficient now, it's considered as a challenge. Again, we see it as an opportunity once we finalize and launch this consortium. And yeah, I think I'm also running on time. So I want to very briefly show you like an actual demo of all the different points that we mentioned today when we talked about ORCID IDs or ROR IDs or DataCite DOIs and DOIs. So I want to show you very briefly how these persistent identifiers work together. So this is a DOI. This is a DOI that for my presentation, this presentation that I'm sharing with you today. So what I did before the presentation, I went to an open access repository called Zenodo. I'm sure many of you have heard this name before, and deposited my presentation in Zenodo. I deposited the presentation there. So Zenodo, as an open access repository, allowed me to insert my presentation title. I identified my resource type. She said, is it a research data or is it a report, or what are you trying to upload? So I'm uploading a presentation. It's fully open access, and this is the presentation title. This is a short description for my presentation. I mentioned just a few description about the effort that we are doing today, because this is an effort between us. DELNET is contributing to this. So for example, I mentioned here in the introduction abstract about this, like the session today is hosted by DELNET and organized by DELNET, moderated by Dr. Sangeeta Kaul. I'm acknowledging all of these effort as part of my metadata when I was registering this presentation, and I am making it fully open access. So if you want to access the presentation, you can just click on the DUI and download and access my presentation. And as you can see, even if I uploaded it just like 1 hour, it already got 6 downloads and it have been viewed so far 24 times. So within this, we can see also different persistent identifiers in this page. So we can see this is my presentation title that you all heard it today, and this is my name, and this is my ROR ID. So it's mentioned here that this is Mohamad Mostafa, and I'm claiming that I am affiliated with an organization called the DataCite. So let's verify this information. Let's see if this is true or not. So if I want to see here which Mohamad Mostafa is this one, because I'm confident there are hundreds maybe of researchers that have the similar name. So I want to verify. So when I clicked here on my ORCID ID, I am now redirected to ORCID record of a person called Mohamad Mostafa, and this is, I need to verify which Mohamad Mostafa now. Is it the one who works in the community team at DataCite, or another one maybe claiming that he is Mohamad Mostafa? So I can see ORCID can have this ability to verify my email address. So it's confirmed that this is the verified email ID for Mohamad Mustafa, and he's part of DataCite. It's mentioned in my employment section at my ORCID record. So as you all know, ORCID will allow you as a researcher, as a librarian, as a contributor to this landscape to have your own section where you can connect all your outputs, your employment, your activities together. So it was clear that this is me. So if there is another researcher with the same name, so I have this unique identifier for me. But now we need also to verify which DataCite. Is it the DataCite, the non-profit organization? Because maybe there are another organization with a similar or very close name. So we need to verify which organization. So I can see beyond my affiliation, very close to my affiliation, I have the ROR icon. So when I click on this icon, I will be redirected now to the ROR record for DataCite. So I can see this is the ROR record for DataCite, and I can see some metadata information. So it's a non-profit organization. Okay, it looks like DataCite. Oh, okay, so it's registered in Hanover, Germany. Oh, and this is the official website for DataCite. So datacite.org, and this is some other identifiers as well for DataCite. So I can like verify this is the DataCite, the non-profit organization that supports the research community, that provides the DOIs and bid infrastructure to universities and communities as well. So now I'm verifying all of these information. And as you can see also, like just after publishing it in a few minutes, like because for example, this repository Zenodo was already connected with OpenAIRE, so the metadata information about this presentation are already indexed in OpenAIRE, and when any researcher are using OpenAIRE, they click on the UI, they will be redirected here at Zenodo, so they can download the full text presentation. So boosting my visibility. I also added some keywords because Zenodo gave me this opportunity to add some keywords about this presentation. So I added open science, I added DELNET, I acknowledge them as an organizer and host for us today. I added UIs, I added research data, all the different topics that we touched on it today. And of course, as you can see, there is this section for the citation. So if anyone wants to cite this, again, this is like a short this is like a small output, but think about when you connect all of your different thesis, dissertation, research data, your repository, you connected with DOIs, with rich metadata information. What will be the added benefits? Just think about it. So yeah, so this is the citation section here. You can see all of this information about the citation, and DOI will always be a statement here. So yeah, so this was a quick demo, but I want to show you also another interesting aspect of how DOIs, ORCID IDs, and ROR IDs work together. So I showed you when we were verifying my ORCID record, but I want to show you also another interesting aspect that Zenodo, because Zenodo is a DataCite member, they use DataCite DOIs as well. What Zenodo did is Zenodo also pushed the information about my presentation today, pushed the metadata information and created a record in my ORCID profile about this contribution. Because I deposited this as a contribution. I made effort to build this presentation today, to speak with you today. So this is considered as one of my community efforts to raise awareness and work with the broader research community. So if you go now to my ORCID profile, and I start looking for my work section where I have all my publications, all of my outputs are there. And very quickly I can look for DELNET here. Oh wow, okay, so I can see now I have this clear section in my ORCID record. Oh, this is my presentation title. So this is the actual presentation title that I did today with you, and it's mentioned the the publisher or the host for this was Zenodo, who hosted this, and I can see the presentation itself, I mean. And then this is the short description where I talked about what we were doing today, and I highlighted like Dr. Sangeeta, the DEL director, is moderating the conversation today. So all of these metadata information are appearing in my ORCID record plus the work itself. So this is really fantastic, and this is the DOI. So if someone is browsing and checking my ORCID record, they can click on the DOI itself and they can go immediately to the output, to the presentation, and access it if they want to read more information. But most importantly, what is ORCID is doing here is showing me that the source for this information is not me, is not Mohamad Mostafa's manually uploading or created this ORCID record or created this input manually. It's pushed automatically by DataCite. So DataCite as a DOI registration agency and this as a provider for this DOI, they pushed this information to the ORCID record of Mohamad because he is the author, and it's automatically, without doing anything from my side, it appeared in my ORCID record. So imagine you did the same, and now again, as I mentioned, this is like just an example. This is a presentation, but think about all the valuable outputs and the resources that your institution is currently disseminating and publishing through your existing systems, repositories, all the thesis and dissertation, all the research data that you have, all the reports, or the conference proceeding and presentation that is happening about important topics in science, in social science, in engineering, in medical research at your institution. It would be really, really good to adopt DOIs for them, to use ORCID IDs. Your faculty members have their ORCID IDs as well. So these informations are part of their ORCID record. It's not only about journal articles, as we mentioned. So yeah, so this was just like a practical demo I wanted to show you very briefly. And I want to end my presentation with you today with this statement from the UNESCO Open Science recommendation about open science again. So the quote starts with the following: open science is not an option. It's our collective responsibility to ensure that knowledge serves all of humanity. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Mostafa, for a very comprehensive coverage of the subject today, and also at the same time giving very powerful insights into the DataCite as such, the need for adopting it, the need to come together and make it as a part of our consortial product for all the institutions to come forward and to get benefited out of it. We do pretty hope, as we have been planning for long, to take this to the next level. And this is today is just an initiation. This is what we would like to convey to all our attendees over here, our colleagues who have joined us not only from India, but also from many of the other countries from the SARC and also from outside SARC also. We do have a presence of our colleagues here. So we would just like to convey on behalf of DELNET and DataCite that we are taking the discussions forward, and we are very much sure about it that very soon we would be able to concretize this entire this consortium, and we are also DELNET as an organization. We are also now going to have a committee constituted, a high-powered committee, for this entire work, and having all our stakeholders along with us, and we would see to it that it sees the light of the day very soon. And we have been discussing for quite a long time. We know that there's a greater need for it. There is a greater need basically to come together, everyone's concern. We know that everyone is really wanting to bring in, as today also in the small group, we have been able to see, we fairly have got around 400 of professionals who have been able to join us, and we're able to see that what is the current scenario right now. But we need to come together, and DELNET remains committed to bring in that change, to ensure that we are able to, in some constructive manner, in some meaningful manner, we are able to contribute to the professionals, to the institutions as such. And we remain truly appreciative of the support which is being extended by DataCite, and my very special appreciation for Mr. Mostafa, I must say that, and also to the officials at DataCite for giving DELNET an opportunity to take a lead in this direction for not only for India, but also for South Asia. And we are determined, to take it forward, these discussions, and also to see to it that we make a beginning very, very soon. With this, we have our colleagues from across, and we are very happy also to see that in this group today, not only our own library and information science professionals, we do have our researcher community as well represented in this group today. And we would like to make the floor now open for questions. And I'm just firstly lowering everyone's hand, whosoever has raised it right now. Would like to request you to kindly raise your hand, digital hand, and we will be really, really happy to take your question. And please be very candid. Please do come forward and express your concerns that you have, and because this will definitely dates and recommendations. It's more today's open discussions, dialogue that we are having. It will certainly be helping us out in drafting, our roadmap of being together, DELNET and DataCite, and we will be able to address all those issues. So please be very be frank enough in letting all your concerns be known to us and also to everyone, and let's collectively, discuss about it. And so I'm requesting you, please raise your digital hands, and we will be really happy to get you connected. I'm firstly moving to Xenia Bhattacharya, and this is for you, Xenia. If you can unmute yourself. I have unmuted you from here. This is for you, Xenia Bhattacharya. Xenia, you have raised your digital hand. Could you please unmute yourself? This is for Xenia Bhattacharya. Xenia, I have unmuted you and sent you also an unmute request. Could you please unmute yourself? It seems you are having a difficulty. Let me just go on. Please raise your digital hand. Requesting you, our colleagues, you have any questions, please kindly raise your digital hand so that we can get you connected. We can hear you and we can address, your concern. This is for everyone who is being there on this platform today. Please kindly raise your hand if you have any question. I'm quickly sifting through all the attendees to see to it that we get an opportunity to listen to you and also to get inputs from you. As I speak to you, I'm sifting through. We have Mr. Pravakar Thakur. Mr. Pravakar Thakur, I have unmuted you. Mr.
Yes,
yes, we are connected, Pravakar.
Good afternoon.
Yourself, Pravakar.
Yeah, my name is
Yes.
Prabhakar Thakur, and I am the assistant librarian in MIT University at Kolkata. So my question was like, can we get an DOI for patent certificate?
Prabhakar, say it again because your voice came a little feeble. Can you get an DOI for?
Yeah, my question is that for like patent, can we get a DOI?
Patent. Okay, patents. Okay, fine. Yeah, Mostafa, you may like to. Yes.
This is, yeah. Thank you so much for your question. This is a good one. So currently, like we don't have patent as an independent resource type, but we always have the other resource type and that you can use, and then you can list the resource type patent. So yes, the short answer is yes, you can do that, of course. And another thing is we have like a mechanism also for how we create these resource types. So we have like a metadata working group. We have an open portal at GitHub where we ask you to add your feedback, your suggestions, if there is a new resource type that you want to use. So this is also another thing of being a part of a community, that you get the opportunity to shape how the organization is working. Just to give you a very quick example. So recently, last year, a group of our community members, they wanted to add a new resource type called the instrument, because they want to register the exact tools that they use to conduct the research, because these tools has a specific customization in order to get a specific outputs. So they wanted an instrument to be added as a new resource type. So they submitted this, and then our metadata working group was advising us along with the DataCite team staff who work in that in the metadata team. They started to have a plan to roll out this new resource type as an instrument. Recently also we started award as a new resource type. So this is again highlights the benefits. So is when you join a community and you have, for example, a resource type that you want to add, you can share that suggestion with us. It will take its time in our product lineup, and then it will end up in our schema, will allow you to register this output. So I hope this answers your question.
Thank you very much, Prabhakar. And just a quick, thank you very much, Prabhakar, for asking this very important question. And one question to you, Mostafa: how sooner one can, once some institution, requests for inclusion of a new, a new type of resource type for inclusion in DataCite, how much time does it take on an average for inclusion?
I would say, I think a few months, I would say, because the metadata team will consult, or the adoption team will consult the metadata working group. They do some research as well about what should be the best name that we should use for this new resource type. So they do some research, and then we also talk with our engineering team to start developing, writing the code for this to be part of Fabrica. So when members are registering, whether through the API or through the Fabrica web form, they can see this new resource type. So it takes quite some time as well to implement and to have this. But we always have this other resource type, and then when you type other, you get a new window to add the exact name of the resource type that you want to register now, if it's not available among these 33 outputs.
But at the same time, if you think about sharing that content, because if you are not able to standardize it, because any other type, one can give that resource type in any, natural vocabulary if you're using, somehow, the purpose of this and knowledge sharing, once we are thinking about sharing that, because that resource type may get represented by the various terms. It may at times may also lead to a data loss, because those who are desiring to get connected with that kind of a resource type may not be able to reach out.
Correct.
I believe that may be, and that's the reason why we,
Yeah, correct. That's why we always encourage the members to share feedback and thoughts also on new resource type that they want to register.
I think what I strongly feel is, Mostafa, as a DataCite being such a premier organization, especially this any other, when we say any other, we have to keep a very close tab. From the back end, you have to keep a very close tab. It should not be happening that someone is trying to use a resource type which is already has to be covered through some other term which is already being given, because it will lead to a lot much of data noise then, and also would lead to the same concept being represented in very other ways, and that would eventually the data integrity in some ways would get affected. I think we need to look into, because especially the first timers when we are starting off, and we are not so sure that in which category you may be able to see, and then you sometimes miss out also a category which is already being assigned, and we tend to give something of our own. Maybe perhaps we will have at some point of time to look into, because that's again another work, especially in our libraries, that we have to do to use the standardized terms for it, and even standardizing our resource types. Thank you very much for this. Let's quickly move on. We can see Mr. Akash Singh, who is there with us. Akash, could you please unmute yourself? This is for you, Akash. Akash Singh, Akash, could you please unmute yourself? I have unmuted you. Mr. Akash Singh, Akash, could you please unmute yourself? A last call for Akash Singh. Akash, could you please unmute yourself? I'm extremely sorry, Akash. I'm not sure why we are not able to unmute. We will otherwise come back to you again. This is for Mr. Praveen Bangare. Mr. Praveen Bangare, could you please unmute yourself? Mr. Praveen Bangare, could you please unmute yourself? I have sent you an unmute request, Praveen. Praveen, may I request you, please unmute yourself. I'm extremely sorry, I have to mute you now from here. This is for Rahul Dhanwate. Mr. Rahul Dhanwate, could you please unmute yourself, Rahul? Rahul Dhanwate, could you please unmute yourself? If anyone is finding a difficulty in unmuting, requesting you, please post your message in the chat box and we'll pick up the question from there. This is for you, Mr. Rahul Dhanwate. We are not able to. This is now for Mr. Vinod Kumar. Mr. Vinod Kumar, could you please unmute yourself, Mr. Vinod?
Good afternoon,
yes, Vinod, we are connected.
Yes, good afternoon, ma'am.
Please introduce yourself.
I am Vinod Kumar, librarian in Accurate Group of Institution, Greater Noida. No more question, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. I saw your digital hand, and that's how. Thank you very much for joining, Vinod. Thank you so much indeed. Thank you. There is a question for you, Mostafa. This is from Dr. Ali Ahmed Hassan, who is wanting to know what are the benefits of DataCite DOI over the Crossref DOI.
This is a good question, and thank you so much for asking this. So yeah, I would say there are, like, it's very important to acknowledge also at the beginning, like, DataCite and the Crossref are not competitors. We both are non-profit organizations. We both work together. We both founded the Research Organization Registry in 2019 along with California Digital Library. We both collaborate on different projects and activities. So it's not like we are like a competitor in this regard. But I will just focus on DataCite and who we are. So as I mentioned at the beginning in my introduction slides, when I talked about DataCite and our DOIs, DataCite is a global community of research organizations. So what we are seeing here now is research organizations like universities, research institutions, research centers will join DataCite to register DOIs for a wide range of outputs and resources. So the first answer is we are a community of research organizations. And the second point is you can see that reflected very, very clearly in our metadata schema. that support outputs and resources, diversified outputs and resources that usually research organizations are producing. So when you join DataCite, you get the opportunity, the ability to register DOIs for these diversified research outputs and the resources. And besides that, as I mentioned, we have like commons, we have different indexers and the global citation databases that will crowd DataCite content like open access, open access recently. So I would say from DataCite perspective, we are a community of universities, research organizations more broadly, and that is completely reflected in our metadata schema and how we give you also the opportunity under your membership to connect different systems, different repositories with DataCite infrastructure. So again, back to the main discussion here within the DELNET DataCite Consortium is, if you are a university here and you join this consortium, you get the opportunity, if you have a publishing press, a publishing platform, you are running an OGS to maintain this publishing platform, you can connect it and you can connect all different outputs. And then if you have a general institutional repository here, you can connect the system also with your general outputs like thesis and dissertation with DataCite DOIs. And maybe in the future, you will launch a third repository or a specialized repository. So you can also connect that repository with DataCite and register DataCite DOIs. So I hope this can answer my question. Your question, sorry. Dr. Sangeeta, are you still here? Hello. Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you very well. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, very much. I don't know what really happened, maybe perhaps through the platform, yeah? So, yeah, please. So my question, means I was just wanting to know that can we have the two DOIs for the same resource?
Yeah, this is a good question. So the answer is no. So according to the DOI Foundation and in terms of best practices, so you should only assign one DOI for your output. So for example, if you already have a journal article and this journal article has been published by an international publisher maybe, and it already has a DOI, and you are displaying the journal article at your repository, so please use the DOI from the publisher and don't assign a new DOI for it. But there is a room for opportunities here to assign DOIs for all the different outputs and the resources that you haven't assigned the DOIs for. And I'm sure your repository, your systems will have back content archives of previous theses, previous dissertation that has been collected over the years. So you can use DOIs for that.
Perfectly fine. So the message is clear that there can be only one DOI per resource. It's not that we cannot have multiple DOIs for the same to keep a uniqueness of that resource, because otherwise, if the same item can get identified by various DOIs, the uniqueness will go away. And also importantly, as you have said, that if it's a journal article, already publisher has given a DOI, and you may have it in your local IR, institutional repository, you have kept that, you have no right to give any new DOI to it. You have to go only by the publisher's DOI. Perfectly fine, Mostafa, thanks for clarifying this. We can see that we have our colleague, Mrs. Lata Kumari, who is wanting to ask you a question. This is for you, Lata. Lata Kumari, could you please unmute yourself? Lata, may I request you, please unmute yourself. We can see your digital hand and trying to connect with you. If not, I am compelled to lower the hand and to mute you. Any other question? Quickly, you can put it even in the chat box if you want. Otherwise, we may like to ask you a last one poll question, and the poll question is now being displayed. And the question is, would your institution be interested in registering DUIs through DELNET DataCite Consortium? And you have got the options with you, and the options are being displayed on the screen. Yes, definitely, possibly, we would like to learn more, or not at this time. We request you, please come forward, give us your reply, and we would be very, very happy to get your inputs. As I said, that both DELNET and DataCite are working very, very closely to see to it that we are able to formalize our arrangement. We are also going to have very close-knit kind of our committees, who are going to discuss more at length. And we are being wanting, that let DataCite services be more implemented in not in India, but also in the SAARC countries. And we really look forward, to make it sooner, functional. We request you, we can see only 17% of you. I know that we have been connected for the past 2 hours and requesting, and this is only a request to each one of you, please do come forward and give us your feedback about it. We are going to have, in next few months' time, we are going to again have yet another round and of our discussions. And we request you all, please, you have any inputs that you may like to do, because those inputs would definitely be of great help and significance to us as we chalk out a strategy for implementing this consortium for India and the other SAARC countries. And this is now, Mostafa, for both DELNET and DataCite to keep a note of it, that 36% of our colleagues here have gone for yes, definitely, and that's highly motivating for us, that yes, you may, and that has become now 38%, that you will be interested in registering the DUIs through DELNET and DataCite. 48% have said that yes, possibly we would like to learn more, and that's again, we have much appreciated your interest and desire to move on and to embrace, the new ways of, research. Means it's significantly going to definitely make a difference in the research systems, and we really feel happy to learn about this. And yes, indeed, we have also kept a note of this, that 15% of you have said that not at this moment, but yes, if not right now, but definitely you may like to think about it at some other point of time. So that has truly been quite an encouraging response for each one. I can see that, okay. Herein is a question which is coming in again from Dr. Ali Ahmad Tahir Hassan, and thank you very much, Dr. Hassan, for asking this a good question again. And this is for you, Mostafa, to respond, saying that suppose a DUI provider stops their service. In this case, is it possible to transfer the DUI between the providers?
This is a very good question. Thank you, Dr. Hassan, for sharing this question. So this is completely possible. So if you currently, for example, using Crossref membership for your university journals and you want to migrate, even using the same prefix with the DataCite, and you start use the same prefix and register DataCite DUIs, yes, this is completely possible, and we have a workflow for that, where we can migrate, and our technical team, the DataCite support team, will be there also to help you to migrate from Crossref to DataCite, and then you can register DUIs for your continue registering DUIs for your outputs and the resources. So the short answer is yes, this is completely possible, and there is a workflow between the different registration agencies to manage this transfer. So this is possible.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mostafa. It seems that we are now towards the closure of our wonderful session today that we had, an initiation of our dialogue, open dialogue on DELNET DataCite Consortium. We are much appreciative of the time and efforts that you have made. Mr. Mostafa, thank you so very much. Your consistent support really speaks volumes of your commitment, to take the initiative to this part of the globe. And we greatly appreciate and admire your relentless efforts. Thank you so very much, and thank you for giving DELNET a chance to really propagate this, among our institutions here in India and also in the SAARC countries. And we assure you that we are all for it, and we would really be wanting to make some headway very, very soon, onto this and to get it available to our institutions. Yes.
And I would say just at the end, the numbers are very, very encouraging. Like if we have like 36% of the attendees are saying, yes, we can go for a DOI now, and 48 are saying, yes, we can do that, but they want to know more. I think this is a very, very good, encouraging numbers. And even for the 15% that they said no, I can relate maybe why they said no, because if you link that to I think we had like 24% said they don't have infrastructure of repositories or journal publishing platform at the moment. So I can relate to that. But these are impressive, encouraging numbers, I think, and I really hope that we continue with the conversation with DELNET and establish this consortium at the ground. So, and we have seen this also with consortia. Like consortia usually grow over time, so they will start with 1 or 2 use cases, 2 institutions only, and then the word will be spreaded, and more organizations, more institutions will be interested to join. But from these initial numbers, they are really, really impressive. And at the end, I want to thank DELNET for hosting us today, for giving us the opportunity. Dr. Sangeeta Kaul, you know how much I appreciate you, and I appreciate all the efforts that you are building, that you are supporting, not only DELNET members in India, but beyond. That's why when we had this conversation, we thought that there is a room for DELNET to support also the growing the DataCite community in the whole South Asian region. So we are really excited about the next actual chapter of this collaboration and starting the consortium and building this community together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and also a very, very special thanks to Mrs. Maria Gold, the Director of the Strategic Programs and Partnerships at DataCite. And we assure you that we are all with DataCite, and we would really like to see to it that it gains some momentum very, very soon. Thank you so much, Mr. Mostafa, and a very big thank you to all our very esteemed colleagues, who have been able to join us from all across the country and outside for being such a wonderful part of today's deliberations. And your inputs have greatly been valued. We will see to it that, once we roll out, the main consortium, any point of time you have any concerns, you would like to get clarifications, we request you, please do remain connected with us and let us have those feedback, because that would definitely be helpful to us in drafting, our main consortium arrangement, with DataCite. But yes, we can assure you that in next few months' time, we are all being determined to see to it that we make it, available to our institutions, and so that they can start utilizing the wonderful facilities. Also, quickly would like to mention that exactly in 1 hour's time, because I could see a couple of questions being there also on that for number 1, this entire deliberations of today's session video recording would be available on the DELNET's YouTube channel, seeking a permission from Mr. Mostafa that this entire video recording we would like to place it, and you can always refer and can listen to it. So on DELNET's YouTube channel web view, it will be available. We request you do subscribe to the channel. It's free of charge, and you can always get updated whenever we upload any news. So by tomorrow afternoon, this entire video recording will be made available. You can refer, you can always write to us. And also would like to share that sharp 5 o'clock today, 5 p.m. today, 18th of November, you will be receiving the certificate of participation for attending today's session, which has been the inaugural session for initiating our open dialogue, for DELNET and DataCite Consortium for DOIs. It has truly been a lovely pleasure having each one of you with us. Our very, very special admiration and appreciation to DataCite and our very wonderful colleagues there, Mr. Mostafa, who has been of great, splendid, stupendous support always, and truly admire and appreciate your work. And may God bless you, and you keep on, helping out the users community, the researcher community, and may the word, of this collective, we have to collectively, we are into the world of interconnectedness, and we have to really set in the best examples, that we have to, each one of us has to play a very responsible role, collectively, cohesively, collaboratively, in the collaborations lies the success. And we are really, really happy that today we have initiated this important dialogue on the subject, and we really look forward to coming back again to you sometime very, very soon. So thank you very much once and all, and my very special thanks also to my own colleagues, Mr. Kushal Giri Goswami and also Mrs. Ranjana, for helping out DELNET in organizing these sessions. Thank you so very much, one and all. Greatly admired and appreciated your being there with us, and we really look forward to having you back again in the future webinar sessions. Thank you so much. Stay connected, stay blessed, and it has truly been a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much indeed.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Truly a pleasure. Thank you. God bless. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.